So let's start the NISM course. And as I told, it is also important for those who are not applying for NISM also for overall understanding. So let's go do this. Okay. So the first is introduction to research analyst profession. Here is having three parts: role of research analyst, function of research analyst, and principles to be followed by the research analyst. So we'll go with the first example, research analyst, role of research analyst. So as I said, it's general understanding. With an example, it starts. So how to select a phone? Selecting a phone requires your constraint and your preferences, and within that constraint and preferences, you are trying to optimize your needs. Hence, you require research because there is a concept of optimization came. The moment optimization comes, you need to acquire the right set of information to optimize yourself. There is a budget, let's say you have 15,000 rupees your budget. Let's say you have order preference, let's say Samsung, or MI, Realme, or Oppo, etc. Or maybe iPhone, maybe there. But 15,000, obviously, you will directly, you can directly discount iPhone because you know to write it because you can do discount. Second part is still you want to. Second part is you have preferences for memory and camera. Let's say you require maybe 16 megapixel camera or more than that, or you have you require a memory of 64 GB or maybe 128 GB. So based on that, you need to search through and finally select based on on this multiple combination you need to optimize and get units fulfilled. Then the second part in the book talks about research plus analysis. What is that? And as I said, we need to follow this particular book. NISM book is an outstanding book. Yes, okay. And if you follow it, you will not only qualify exam, you will develop great understanding. For an engineer also, it's very important to understand securities market. If you are planning to invest also, you are getting recommendation from outside, still internally you should have some understanding. So hence these are very very important. So this book, but I am following that book. So research and analysis. What is that? Research analysis is the second part here. Research is about collecting information. Analysis is about processing the information. So collecting the information for a company, it is not that much difficult if it is a big company. For a small company, obviously it's a very difficult. Big company, it's need to be very transparent, and obviously it has to submit the annual reports, quarterly reports to the SEBI, Security Exchange Board of India, to the Ministry of Corporate Affairs, and to the stock exchange also needs to submit, as well as you need to have annual general meeting. It needs to answer the questions. Also, though these are all secondary source of information, we are not getting from their websites and others. But the primary source of information also you can collect if you are visiting their plant. Then also you can collect the primary source of, or you are directly taking interviews, or you have certain sources in the company, then which can get you some information. But you need to be very transparent when you are doing this research. uh, then the processing the information is about framework and tool to be used for economic. What is the framework for industry? What you are trying to analyze, how the industry is performing, and the company. You need to understand their overall finances, the profit and loss statement, what is the revenue business model, how they are generating revenue, what is the quality of management. A lot of things is there. What is the cost structure, how it's the growing, whether and what is the margin, and their R&D and other stuff is definitely technology to be used, whether it's very obsolete technology, what is the regulatory framework in the particular industry. It's very important. A lot of things we need to cover later, but I just informed you. But if you look at this research analysis, you would have heard about RAW also, institution to collect the intelligence of government of India. The research and analysis wing, it just does the same thing. Only thing, the intelligence, the information collection is definitely is very very complex thing, because the information is declassified, is not stored anywhere, and you require your your satellite, your various other tools, even the human intelligence to go, and so it's definitely challenging, but this company information is not that challenging. Then the second part is data and information. So as I said, these are very very fundamental, data and information. And in the data and information space, you have three kind of information. You have economic information, you have industry, and you have, you know company specific information. That means I'll talk about the same thing in the fundamental research, but still it is important to give you some. So if you talk about economic specific information, so among the economic specific information, you will find mainly what is the economy it's performing, what is the even if for a developing country like India, where per capita income is less, disposable income anyhow very less. But you still need to understand, if the inflation is high, then disposable income will come down, because more of the income will go to commodities, rice, pulses, vegetables, rather than to the automobiles, consumer durables, or other products. And if unemployment is high, the overall demand contraction will happen. If interest rates is high, the investment will not happen, then employment will go down, because the cost of funds will go high. Same thing in industry specific side, you need to understand what is the industry is performing. Automobile industry, what is the government policy? Whether government is discouraging certain automobile technology, whether government is encouraging, or and if you look at the let's say banking industry, so which is the lifeline of a country and lifeline of the industry, whether the if NPA goes up, then obviously there is RBI will assign more risk weighted assets, risk weights, even the provisioning will go high, and the overall lending cost will go high, and the investment will go down, because many of the companies, due to lending cost, high lending cost, will become unviable. Even more MP can increase also. Other industries, you can say consumer durable industries, what is happening, then latest technology happened or not, or normally in generally the B2B industry like steel industry or aluminum, these are all depend on the consumer industry. The consumer industry like automobile is performing well, will the steel consumption. But still, it's a realist industry. These are all things detail I'll cover. But let us go to then company specific. Company specific information is very very important. What is their business model? How the revenue is distributed across geography, and what is their margin? What is their these are all introduction. I'll go into detail. What is their receivable cycle, repayment cycle, the payable cycle. What is the inventory they're holding, and the cost, labor cost, the cost of goods sold. Lot of things is there. What is the overall leverage the company is having? If the company is expanding very rapidly, whether the liquidity crisis will happen or not, solvency. These are all things that will come later. But overall, I can say these things. Then obviously analysis, and then the third part is analysis, and the sorry, fourth part is analysis and decision making process. Is very very important, because obviously we have to analyze and you have to take certain decisions, whether to buy, sell, or hold, that you would have heard of in the stock market, these things. So the analysis is basically about two kind of analysis happening. Overall, if you look at, then call it qualitative analysis and quantitative analysis. So quantitative is mainly about numbers, like revenue. What is the revenue, cost, profitability, risk? What is the liquidity risk? Overall operational risk, business risk. These are all things I'll cover in details for introduction. Then the qualitative factors are also important. Qualitative factors are very important also. Qualitative factors are important. Let's what is the operational efficiency of operation, competitiveness. You know, I'll cover in detail again. I will tell operational efficiency, competitiveness. These are all things. Then overall, obviously, the business plans, marketing, and supplies and how things are obviously these are important. In quant is basically about numbers. But like what is the revenue, cost, profitability, risk, and various ratios will come also, like liquidity ratio, solvency ratio, uh, leverage ratio. These are all things will definitely come, but I'll cover in detail in later chapters. And then the final, I think, something called role of nature of analyst. This is the final in the role of research analyst. There are three kinds of nature or the role you can say. There is one thing called sell side. So in the role of research nature of research analyst, there is three basically about side, then buy side, then independent analyst. Independent analyst. So in the sell side, if you look at the sell side, generally they sell the services. You are employed in some company, you are putting up your research report, and then you are selling the services to the investment banks, selling the services to investment banks, other institutions, investment banks, mm, banks, other institutions, other partners or institutions. Then this kind of general advisory services. Uh, uh, Then the buy side analysis is particularly for internal consumption. Okay, internal consumption, uh, uh, internal consumption. Mutual funds and other money managers, they do it for their internal buying of the shares. But independent analysts can sell the shares. Like you can be an independent analyst once you cover it. Once you cover and qualify this course, you can become an independent analyst, and you can produce research report. You can recommend buy and sell, can recommend buy and sell, so that you can sell it yourself. So you are no need to employ it outside. You can open your own company and can recommend buy and sell. So you have to register for that. I'll give in the details. Okay, so thank you very much. Then the next I will cover the function of research analyst.